Easy, guys. Easy. JMC first. Well, thank you, baby. I can only go for an hour, maybe an hour and 15. I'm meeting my friend later. So, yeah, it won't be a 4-hour stream. It'll be an hour, maximum hour and a half. So I'm going to head to the beach today. Not going to do any drinking or anything. Just going to go there, go for a swim, chill with my mate, big bottle of water, enjoy the view. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Hey, Judah. Hey, Judah. How you doing, baby? So let's get into a topic which I think is really interesting. There's no universal answer to this, but for me, who was a diehard sports fan, pro sports, still a diehard sports fan, I want to get into this discussion. What's up, baby? Tank the Chai Guy. All is good, mate. All is good. Last night, went out for dinner with my mate. Watched this girl called Yolanda perform. It's amazing. She went from like singing to playing the flute to playing the guitar, just poetry in motion. And then we went for an ice cream. You know, I like my ice creams. Came home. I actually got an early night for me, like about 12:30 instead of like 4 a.m. Today, guys, I'm having a 2-hour phone call with Gabrielle, who's designing my website. Having a 2-hour phone call. And we're going to go on Google Meet and figure out how we're going to get this website set up. So it's on its way. But next week's going to be wild for me. I'm doing summer camps, football. I've organised that. I've got more English classes. So I've started stepping it up with that since Patreon pulled my pants down. Me too, big fan of Chiefs. Then when I got older, realised sports were rigged. I stopped watching it like I used to. For me, like, I've completely given up on pro sports, which is really, still to me, really shocking. But I don't watch any of them. Since I basically stopped gambling on them, I don't watch them. I don't want to give my energy to them. You think biometric ID is talked about in the Mark of the Beast? It's not exactly talked about, the biometric ID, but it could be where they're going with it. Anything that's connected to your head or that can go in your brain could be connected to the Mark of the Beast. Simple as that. So if they're going to offer you that, I recommend that you decline. Even if it means you can't function in society anymore, do not take that offer. If anything gets offered to get put in your brain like a chip, which people go again, conspiracy. Like, why does every conspiracy seem to come true? Wow, 14 in the live, 4 likes for my birthday, baby. Teaching my younger cousin sports is rigged and controlled by Freemasonry. He told me, yeah, this is my last time watching an NBA, NFL, NHL game. That's amazing. Well done for doing that. A lot of people are really concerned about speaking to the younger generation and calling it out. I think it's the best thing you can do. You can save them so much energy. So let's get into this then. I'm not going to just go on and on and on. I'm going to actually focus on a theme. So why do we care so much about professional sports? It's a really good question, in my opinion, because the more I think about it, I don't understand it. You're watching these games, okay? You don't know who these people are. Okay, maybe you might have a friend playing on a professional team, a family member, but in general, you have no idea who they are. You've never met them. You've got no real connection with them, yet you care so much about them. And then if your team loses, it can really affect your mood. For those people who attend the games, spend a lot of money on merchandise. And I'm just trying to figure out why people care so much about them. Because I can do this because I cared. Like, immensely. I've told you, if Man United lost a game, I was fed up for 2 days, especially a big game. And looking back now, that's absolutely cringeworthy and embarrassing. It'll never happen again. I don't know how I would have reacted, guys. So I'm thankful that I actually had my awakening before Euro 2020. Because if England lost that final on penalties, and I was how I used to be with professional sports, that would have ruined me for like a month. I'd be like, this may never happen again. So I think I told you this when I was younger. One of my dreams was to witness England win the World Cup or the Euros. That was one of my dreams. I remember getting asked. And they got to the final, and I didn't even watch England. I didn't watch one game in the Euros. Didn't watch the final. I personally think college football is done because now not only did UCLA, USC, BYU, Cincinnati, etc. switch from Pac-12 to Big 10, Big West to Big 12, but in order to attend the games, you have to wear masks. Yeah, but mate, people wear them. It's people who've taken this multiple times that are still wearing them. So again, I've told you, this is all a test. It's all a test. And at this point, I've been speaking to Red Pill Monkey all morning. I told you we're the same person. He went, we're the same person, but you're in sunny Mexico and I'm in Wales. I was like, yeah. So we were talking about how it's just becoming almost impossible now to interact with the average person. It's actually getting harder for me every passing day now to interact with the average person. But then you don't want to live in solitude as well, although sometimes that's amazing. I was actually reading about that actually last night. Where is it? It's about John. I'm not sure I can find it because I read a lot of pages last night. I should have highlighted it, but I don't feel like highlighting this book. But it was really interesting how basically John had to go into solitude to spread the Lord's word. And he was fine with that. He didn't need to be around people. Yeah, it says here, apparently solitude was what John needed for these visions, and solitude was what God provided. So I've told you I gave up. I'm not comparing myself with John here. But I am basically in solitude. I gave up my marriage. I told you my job where you're surrounded by hundreds of kids, teachers. And then it says here, how do we react to our loneliness? We should let God be God in them. We may feel shut out from friends and loved ones, even though we are in our own homes with our families. God has put us in that situation for a special purpose. Let us go on with him in it. So all this stuff's really interesting to me. It's very interesting. I'm not going to keep reading it, but let's keep going. It can come down to a lot of things. As a kid, maybe wanting to fit in at school when everybody else is into football, maybe parents taking their kids to games, watching sports at home, etc. Wanting to watch the pros so you can get better at whatever sport you play. It's the idolizing that song. Same with actors and singers. Yeah, the celebrity worship. We should not worship any man or woman. So, again, I'll never forget my dad telling me over 10 years ago now. Maybe, could it have been 20 years ago? It may have even been 20 years ago. I lose track of time because it's an illusion. It's like, money's going to kill the game, Adam. I was like, what do you mean? This was like around when like Alan Shearer signed for Newcastle for 15 million, which was huge back then. He was like telling me that the game's going to die because of money. I was like, no, it's not. It's the same thing. Like, if anything, it's going to be better. Like, I was convinced myself, well, the more money they get, that must mean that they're better. They must be incredible, the more money they get. And I've told you their wages are all lies. It's all by the numbers. And my dad was right. Like, he pretty much always has been when he says things like that. So part of the allure of professional sports is that it happens in real time. All right, like a movie and stuff like that, it can take like a year or years to produce and direct and get out there to the masses. Professional sports, you have that real-time moment, don't you? The build up to it. You know it's going to last 90 plus minutes. And the average person, even myself, I'm not perfect with sports decoding. It's like, what's going to happen? Who's going to win? Every dog has its day. Will there be an upset? But I just don't know why people care so much. I really don't know. Like, sports are absolutely incredible. But again, Satan's infiltrated them and made them all about money and greed and getting famous. Like, if you ask a kid, what do you want to be when you're older? And they say pro footballer, they say, why? Because I want to be rich. That's what they'll say. Most of them, I know that from experience. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. I want people to chant my name. And that's what it's become about now. Like, it's not been about because I love the game. I want to inspire generations and all of that. It's now so much about money. And that's a real shame. But it's all entertainment, isn't it? Basically, it's all entertainment. Are you not entertained? But I say create your own entertainment rather than relying on watching other people perform. So these athletes are basically heroes. At the highest level, they're heroes. And you'll say, well, that's a good thing. It's good to look up to people. But heroes, guys, gods, as some of them get called, it's not right for me. And yeah, it's a lot easier to say, I want to be like Messi, Ronaldo. I want to be like Tom Brady. You're not going to say like, I want to be like, I don't know, Neville Goddard. I want to be like Alan Watts. Things like that. You're not going to say that. Most people have never heard of those people. But pro sports, guys, it creates just fanatics. And they say that sports or football or whatever the sport is becomes a religion. It's people's religion. Okay? Instead of, you know how I feel about church? Like, church isn't bad. It's just, for me, church focuses more on the darkness in the world rather than the beauty of it for me. And I've said I don't think you need to go to church to get close to God, but most people will be watching an NFL game on a Sunday than being at church. And I know from experience, just so many of my American friends spend their whole Sunday watching the NFL, which for me, and this is hard for me to say, for me is the most rigged game going, the NFL, from recent games that I watched, especially in the playoffs. It's beyond a joke rigged, and I don't get how people can't see it. Hey, Divine, Feminine Living UK. Lady Hawk, how you doing? Much love to you. Pro sports stars are elevated above amazing teachers, social workers, and people who contribute in major ways, but you can't fill a stadium to watch a peacemaker. Wow, what a line. You can't fill a stadium to watch a peacemaker. Yep. The NFL playoffs are a joke. Yes, 6 out of the last 7 NFL playoff games were decided by exactly 3 points. We joked about this yesterday on our where do I think Ronaldo will go. I don't care. I haven't looked at the numbers. I've not been paying attention to sports for a week, which has been beautiful. I don't know. I'd have to read multiple headlines because they give you clues, and then I'll probably be able to tell you. But again, it's what's going to go on until he makes an announcement. You're going to be asking, where's Ronaldo going to go? Why do you care? Just ask yourself that question. And I'm not judging you for this. Just say, why do I care? Why am I asking Illusion, where's Ronaldo going to go? Why do I care? I'm intrigued to know the answer to that. Why did I used to care so much about that? I'd be asking that question now, mate. Year and a half ago, I'd be asking that question. I'd be saying, should I put Ronaldo in my FPL team? Because what if he leaves? What if he goes to Spain or something? I better avoid him. And then he'll end up scoring a hat-trick on game 1. I'll be like, man, if only I didn't read that headline. Just things like that. So they get you as a child, don't they? They get you when you're young. Because most kids, not all kids, especially now with the current generation, most kids like to play sports when they're younger. And then they watch the games and they want to emulate their heroes. That's why you see, if you watch Sunday League or just youth football, the celebrations are not original. It's what they see on TV. And I've done many videos about the symbolism of the celebrations, how they mock Christ, how they worship Lucifer and do all of that. And then kids are doing it, which is frustrating because they're unaware, they're oblivious. They look up to these people. I don't. Sports are fun, but why the heck would one be a fan of a bunch of dudes running after a ball? There's some more important things to do. Again, yeah, when you just break it down. What does illusion the Chad mean? I'm not sure what that means. It's all dog and pony show for the dumb masses. Yep. They got you as a child. Yeah, they got me as a child. Like, so I was at Bradford City when I was younger. Obviously, you have players that you looked up to. You want to emulate them. I never copied anyone's celebration, though. I was very strange with my celebrations. It was like I scored and I kind of just ran back to the halfway line. I didn't do this all big song and dance when I score. I just run back and somebody give me a high five or smile at me or great strike or whatever. I didn't do celebrations, to be honest. And these pro sports guys, they promote gambling. A lot of the teams are sponsored by betting websites, which tells me that it's clearly not good for you. That's how I see things now. If it's being promoted by the mainstream, it's not good for you. It's one of the reasons I gave up gambling. The main one was the energy that it was taking from me, but just knowing that it's clearly toxic because they promote it. And then, like I've told you this before, why do McDonald's and Pepsi, why do they sponsor like the World Cup and the Super Bowl halftime show? It makes no sense. If these are elite athletes, they should all say, no, why are we promoting this stuff, this junk? People just don't think about it. They don't care, it seems. As for them getting us as a child, I was a gymnast very early, one of the first black people to compete in youth games in the 80s. Wow. Congratulations for that. I do believe now, like people like, what's her name, Simone. That's quite blatantly a man. I think a lot of the gymnasts are, unfortunately. And then again, that's Satan that's done all of that, guys. Infiltrated all of sports at the highest level. Not just with sex, but just making it all about money and greed and ego. And you've got people like Neymar walking around with a man bag and stuff like that, and Russell Westbrook wearing a dress, and kids see that. Again, remember when you're young, you will be like, maybe if Russell Westbrook, the guy who they've intentionally let get like triple doubles and just can dominate a game, even though they've embarrassed him multiple times, the guy's a beast. And then kids might go, I want to be just like Russell Westbrook. I want to wear that dress, Mum, that Russell's wearing. I want that man bag. I'm not joking. It's what they do. Celebrity culture. Sport is fixed and knowledge of this can be used for financial advantage. Matt Lucas placed £2 stake on 175 at 1 odds and he won. He tweeted it. I bet on 44 cricket matches this year, won 42. It is, Simon. You can win a lot of money on it. If you're not an emotional bettor, you can do well. I won thousands. I won like $5,000 on the books when they won the Super Bowl, but I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to gamble, but I'm not going to tell people not to. Watched your live yesterday earlier. I missed all the fun. It was a long one. It was like almost 5 hours. This is going to be about an hour and 15 because I'm meeting my friend. I'm going to relax because next week's going to be hectic for me. People are lost screaming over kicking balls in the net. Everyone I know is like this. That's what I mean. You're watching people just run around the field, either kicking a ball or throwing a ball or skating around the rink or whatever it may be. And it all goes back. Oh, thank you so much, South Holland. Much love and peace to you. Much love. Thank you for that. The 199, I was just talking about Tom Brady. Brady, the 199th pick. Round 6 became the GOAT. Just doesn't add up, does it? But I brought this up before. When Aguero scored that goal in 2012, I was so what was that, 10 years ago? I was 26. Oh my, of course I was 26. I cried. A 26-year-old man cried when Man United lost the league with the last kick of the game. Like, not like bawling my eyes out, but I got so angry. I think I punched something. I can't remember what it was. I remember my phone going off intensely after United lost that league with that Aguero goal. My phone I got hammered the whole day, and my ego with it all as well. Like, remember, I know a few people still say I've got a giant ego. I don't think I do. I definitely have an ego still, but not a giant one like I used to. I was ready to message everyone, all the City fans, all the Liverpool fans that I knew, all the Leeds fans. I was ready to go, there we go, another title for United, all of that. And then 2 goals in 2 minutes, whatever it was. That will never happen to me again. And I don't want it to ever happen to anybody else where they cry over their team losing, especially when it's all predetermined, in my opinion. Still don't know how it's being done. If it's God, magic, the devil, the players all know. I still don't know, and I don't think I'll ever know that. But I can say this: we're giving way too much energy to people we don't know, whether that's athletes, movie stars, singers, politicians. We don't know anything about them. The royal family. Like, I just want people to really question why they care so much. And maybe that energy could go towards their own family or towards themselves. You know what I mean? I really don't care about pro sports anymore. Same, mate. This is what I'm saying. Like, for my awakening, remember when I go live, guys, it's my story. So if I talk about certain topics, you might not agree with everything that I say, but I'm not here to just say everything that you want. You know what I mean? So for me, I've given up on pro sports. And again, I've said this multiple times, unless you know me, you don't know how insane that is. The thought of Adam Edwards doesn't watch pro sports. I don't watch any of them. And I still can't believe that. It's not an easy thing to give up. Like, imagine, like, for example, when you were younger, you were an aspiring actress. You always wanted to be an actress. And you were very talented. You were a very talented actress. You watched all the movies, all the shows. It was a thing that you talked about with your friends all the time. You was excited a new show was about to come out. Like, that was such a huge part of your life. And then suddenly you say, wait, it's all like corrupt. The entertainment industry is corrupt. Basically, most people in it are transgender, or it's bloodline, and I never really had a shot. And then you just stop watching TV. That's what's happened with me. I don't watch any pro sports. I can't. It's painful for me. Again, it hurts my soul. But I'm going to do football camps next week, and it's going to soothe my soul. It's going to be a joyous experience for me and for the kids. And I know some of you will say, well, you can't do that. You can't keep coaching. I'm not coaching kids to be professional athletes. I'm coaching them for the love of the game, to be with the mates. That's what I'm doing. So I'm excited for that. I got mad over Benzema's 3 goals on PSG. I bet, mate. I bet. Why do you think there's so many late goals or late drama in all of these sports? It is all energy harvesting. It's to break your heart, or it's to give you this, like, fake high, short-term high. And if people just honestly sat down around a table and just had a conversation, and as grown men and women, why do you care so much? I've said that to multiple people now, just straightforward. Why do you care so much about professional sports? Why do you care about those lads winning? What is it? A lot of it's social identity, especially with college sports. Guys, it's wild. I told you I met a family from Colorado. Much love to them. And the daughter goes to Michigan. Said the stadium is 108,000 or something, full every single weekend. And I don't know, maybe there is that connection element, but there's also a huge divide element with pro sports as well. Some people are more dedicated to their favorite team than their family and friends. I have put my hand up and said this. My ex-wife Told you I won't say a bad word about her. She would say, let's go for a hike, Adam. Let's go for a nice breakfast. And I would say, no, I'm watching United. I'm watching El Clasico. What? I can't believe that I did that, but I'm not the only one. It's because you speak to your mates and they're doing the same thing, and you're trying to keep up with your mates. It's like, come on, Edwards, let's watch it. Like, my wife wants me to do that. I've said, nah, she can go for breakfast with her friends or whatever. It's the only way I would say I was like a disrespectful husband when it came to the weekend in the mornings. So I was like, just let me have a bit of my time. Let me watch the game. I worked hard all week. Let me just watch the game. We'll go for a hike after or whatever. Or maybe if United's not on TV, but they're always on TV. They always put teams like United on TV because they know there's a big fan base. They'll have more people sat in their house watching them. And then you've got the Fantasy Premier League and you gambling. Again, how many people would care so much about these sports if there was no gambling involved or no fantasy leagues? I don't think half people would care as much. I just did a post on Twitter about that. I got these images from Peruvian fans when they failed to qualify for the World Cup. Australia knocked them out, and I said that would be a draw and go to penalties. It's what happened with no code. I just said it's going to be pure energy harvesting. And all these grown adults crying like they're at a funeral or witnessing somebody being tortured or their house has just been taken out by a earthquake or whatever. And I was like, oh my word, it is really tragic. And I'm not going to say these people are pathetic because I was one of those people. I just wish that they would give their energy to something else. But it's their choice, isn't it? Academy football players are committing suicide after getting released. Mate, you should have seen what he did to me. So when you're at that level, at academy level, you're obviously like the best player at your school. You're better than all your peers and all of that you hang out with. You're like the best players, one of the best players in your city for your age, obviously. Unless you might even get selected to move house. Like I got offered to move house, but I didn't want to do it, and my parents didn't. After Bradford City released me, for no reason other than they said that I wasn't physically built to be a footballer, which is just outrageous. The easiest thing they can say to somebody. I didn't play football for like a year, and it ruined me. Not ruined me. It didn't ruin me. I was still a good lad, funny lad, joking around, but I said I'm not playing anymore. And I always remember I could have gone to two other pro teams, Halifax or York. They were lower level, but still decent. And I'm not doing that. It's not a chance. I'm not. I've got a bit big time, big for my boots. And I gave it up. So I think that's part of my story too. That's why people say you're just jealous. That's why you call out these pro sports. You're just jealous you didn't make it. That's why people say that to me. But I think they know that's not the case anymore. Most pro sports continued while the world was in lockdown. Perfect, Jimmy Mack. I discussed that multiple times. Whilst we were all in lockdown, they were traveling around playing with each other, playing sports. But there were no fans in the stadium. Yeah, but they were man-marking each other, breathing on each other. Multiple times I saw them spitting right next to each other. Watch a set piece, a corner, and watch how close they get. And this was going on. We were all having to deal with the 6-foot social distancing. They were man-marking this close to them, breathing on them. And I was saying all of that. And again, people say to me, Adam, just chill out and enjoy the game, man. You're ruining it for me. I'm like, what? So little things like that built up with me where I was questioning, like, why? Why are they still able to play or get on planes and travel? And then if 3 players have COVID, that they all train with them, I didn't see the whole team like isolating all the time. Like, they picked and choose when it worked for them. Like the Queen's, what they call it, the 4-day event, Jubilee. Like, it disappeared, didn't it? It disappeared. And I'm telling you, I feel it in my soul now. Within a few months, it's going to all be back. And before you know it, it'll be back like it was in 2020. And most people will still accept it. It's like they're in a time loop or something. They can't connect dots. They can't connect dots, most people. Patrick Cash, indeed, I wish our communities came together in a better way than getting drunk for sports ball. Yeah, Patrick, yeah. Remember, it's called a week end to your week. And it is for most people. It is about getting drunk and watching sports and gambling for most people. And imagine you just said, like, your community, you're like, guys, let's get down to the park. We're going to have a game of, I don't know, rounders or football or cricket or whatever it is. And you did that. We'll make a picnic. All right, I'll bring the salad. You bring the drinks. Like don't even have to be alcohol. And it could be great, but people are just, again, the average weekend is the guys probably watching sport, the women are watching soap operas, and the kids are on the PlayStation. Tell me I'm wrong. For most average families, that's probably what's going on, especially on a Sunday. So, like I said today, I'm going to meet my friend at the beach. I'm going to go for a really long swim. I'm going to get a giant bottle of water. I'm going to get an ice cream, and that's about it. Then I've got that 2-hour phone call with Gabrielle, who's working on my website. I've got a bit of work to do today, but it'll be worth it to have that community back up and running. I'm going to hopefully have it up by 7/7. I keep talking about that number 7 recently, so maybe July the 7th. But who knows? We'll see. The start of the Sturgeon Moon, Adam, be prepared. I'll have to look into that. Pado, another one that failed at Chelsea. Yeah, is he in the MLS now, Pado? I don't know if he's still playing. People still get masks on their faces till yeah, and they will. They will, as long as there's a sign saying it. And again, like, so I went to this ice cream place last night. We went to a really good restaurant, but the portions were tiny, guys. How do you feel about that? Went to this fancy restaurant, and the food was tasty, but there was nothing there. It was outrageous. So I was like, I need something else, mate. Like, let's go get a big ice cream or something. You know, I like my ice cream. And there were signs everywhere within the establishment to be 6 foot apart. Well, there was about 20 of us crammed together like sardines. But I saw 2 people kissing each other with their masks on. And that was like, is this real? Is this a dream? Did that really just happen? Are they kissing with masks on? I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, scream, ignore it. I just like, oh, just give me my ice cream and get me out of here. Please. Time does feel like it's flying, JM. I agree with you. It's like they're part of the tribes. Yeah, that's a good point. So I found that image. It actually took me a bit of time to find it. And yeah, they are like tribes. It's like a war, isn't it? The face paint, especially when it comes to like the World Cup. But these college sports, they're really intense. For a group of 18, 19-year-olds, yeah, they're decent athletes. Respect to them. There's no denying that. These people at college, they are good at what they do, especially the ones that get a scholarship. But it's crazy. Again, like, it must go back to like gladiators times, like the Colosseum and bread and circus. There's got to be something deeply psychological with pro sports and what they do to us. Yeah, it's pretty wild, isn't it? But just think what it does. Like, people will flip it, like I've told you, and say, well, it brings us closer, especially World Cups and Olympics. We connect. And there is an element of that. There is a little element of that. But what do you usually do when you're connecting? You're having your barbecue, you're getting pissed, you're gambling. But there is that joy and like when your team scores and you hug each other. But again, even then, there's friends and family members hugging each other after their team scores, but they don't hug each other just to say I love you or thank you. You know what I mean? That really means something. They'll hug and lift each other up and go crazy when a team scores. I can't comprehend it anymore. I'm trying to figure it out. So Matthew says up the baggies. That's fine. He's still a big West Brom fan. But again, I've told you, people have been following these sports since the Greek times, Roman times. And they do control a lot of people. So yeah, again, like people bet. People do place bets is one of the main reasons I think they watch it. I'm going off my experience. The only reason I would ever watch, like, for example, Everton against Newcastle was because I had a bet on it or a fantasy player. I wouldn't just watch it for the love of the game. As I got older, when I was younger, I'd watch any game, but as I got older, I would only watch it because I had money invested in it. And it wasn't even that much, but it was that emotional roller coaster which we like, don't we? We like the like for some reason we like that, but we don't realize how much energy we're giving in. So are they a weapon of mass distraction? I believe so, at the highest level. But I love sport, guys. But I just now appreciate it more at the lower level. Like, I still go watch a semi-professional game. I go watch high school game and youth football or whatever the sport is. But I can't watch pro sports now. You give me 3 tickets, I wouldn't go. I wish people would put more energy in at the gym than they do at staring at a screen, watching other people run around. I wish people would put that energy into going to the gym or going for a run themselves or playing 5-a-side or pinging a few balls, the driving range, whatever it is. But again, there's a lot of skill and strategy and ability that you can look up to, which is not all bad, is it? It's just, there's a difference between being inspired by somebody and idolizing somebody, I think. And it can be thrilling. It can be really thrilling. But for me now, I get no thrill out of watching them. I don't care. I know they're unpredictable. They're artistic. They're exciting. It can be incredibly entertaining. But for me now, it's painful to watch pro sports. Remember back in ancient Rome when Christians were literally thrown to the lions in the Colosseum and the crowds go wild? That bloodthirsty action, guys. It's like the modern day Colosseum is the octagon, is the UFC. And people get such a thrill out of watching somebody knock somebody out or break their ankle, break their arm. They get, go on, snap his arm, go on. It's like, what? Why are you wanting that? You don't know that guy. And you definitely don't know the guy who's getting his arm snapped. Why are you getting a buzz out of that? Is that not a bit sick in the head? It's the same with boxing. Knock him out. What? What's wrong with you? Sorry, Fat Henry. There's no notifications. That YouTube, like, I'm one of the few real ones on YouTube, it seems, that's got any type of an audience. And they're doing that now. I've told you, they're unsubscribing people from me, and they're not letting people know that I'm going live. Maybe some of you, they tell you, I don't know. You should go over the bit about Daniel thrown to the lions and come out later. Let's have a look. I'll keep an eye on time today. I'm meeting a friend. I don't want to be late. Daniel in the Den of Lions. Again, if you've heard of a team called Millwall, they play, don't they? At the Den, is it? They play at the Den. And their nickname, as far as I'm aware, is the Lions. Okay? So Millwall, who are known for having all these hooligans, these crazy fans, their nickname's the Lions. They play at the Den. Now listen to this. Daniel in the Den of Lions. It pleased Darius to appoint 120 satraps to rule throughout the kingdom, with 3 administrators over them, one of whom was Daniel. Satraps were made more accountable to them so that the king might not suffer loss. Now Daniel so distinguished himself among the administrators and the satraps by his exceptional qualities that the king planned to set him over the whole kingdom. At this, the administrators and the satraps tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel in his conduct of government affairs, but they were unable to do so. They could find no corruption in him because he was trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. Finally, these men said, "We will never find any basis for charges against this man, Daniel, unless it has something to do with the law of his God." This is going to take me forever to read, I think. But I want to get to the point where he gets basically thrown in with the lions. Let me find it. At the first light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. When he came near the den, he called Daniel in an anguished voice. "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve, continually been able to rescue you from the lions?" Daniel answered, "May the king live forever. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done any wrong before you, your majesty." The king was overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound was found on him because he had trusted in his God. I'm deeply reading about this, guys. And when you truly have your faith in God, you are protected. If you truly feel like you've connected with God, you do feel protected. I've said for a while now, haven't I? I feel like I'm being protected by angels or guided by them, and people mock me for it and all of that. But I like that story there. So it's crazy. I've never noticed that Millwall play at the Den. They're called the Lions, and then you've got this story here of Daniel in the Den of Lions. Crazy stuff. And the club adopted the name Manchester City at the same time, the Masonic colours of pale blue shirts and white shorts. Yeah, well, Amani Anani, it's a well-known fact that Freemasons saved Man City from going out of business. And one of the deals or agreements was that they were playing the blue and white. The Den is on the road called the Queen's Road. Why? But Millwall, they're always in the news for the hooligans and fighting and violence. It's all biblical, guys. The lion, like Zlatan calls himself the lion, doesn't he? Calls himself the lion, Zlatan, all the time, Ibrahimovic. Go on, Adam. It's always been a huge Masonic link to football, says Lalana. Well, Lalana's father is a Freemason, an open Freemason, and he's heavily involved with youth sports, youth football, grassroots, it's called in England. And I've told you loads of times, the Freemasons founded the Football Association. I think pretty much every pro footballer is a Mason. And if I was a Mason, would I have made it? Highly likely. Highly likely. But I wasn't, never have been. I'm pretty sure my family have never been Masons either. I got to Bradford City because I was head and shoulders better than everybody around me. That's why I got there, not because of my bloodline or Masonic ties, but it don't matter at youth level. Does it? They'll get the best players and then boom, just get rid of you. They don't care. Hey, Joseph. So again, we make this money. We work our asses off to make this money. Most of us are middle class, middle to lower class. You get some middle upper. And we work really hard to make money to pay off these bills and pay your taxes and pay for your insurance and all of that. And then you have a little bit of money left over, the average person. And they often spend that on alcohol and pro sports. That's often what happens. And it's wild to me now thinking about it. There'll be some of you in the chat who've never cared about pro sports. You might not even like sports. And that's fine. But for me, and pretty much all my close friends, it's been a huge part of our life, pro sports. And it did bring a lot of value to my life. You've got the banter, you've got like I said, the entertainment element to it. You can make money through the gambling. You can also lose it, but you can make it. Like, again, it is basically an addiction, all of that. On a dream day, back in the day, a dream day is you go with your mates to a footy game and the weather's nice. It's very rare in England, but the weather's nice. So you go, the lads go, you go to a pub, you play some pool, you have some drinks, a couple of bags of crisps, just good energy. You've all got your accumulator on. I'm just going back years here. You've got your accumulator on and you go to the game, you're all excited. You're watching the game, but you're also keeping an eye on the scores from other games because you want to win your bet. And then full time, your team wins. You had a great time with your boys. You've been singing your heart out for these guys. You don't even know who they are. You've won your bet. And then you go home. You get changed. You go out with the lads on a night out. It's paid for because you won your accumulator. And then you have a great laugh. Maybe you get a girl. You wake up. You feel like death. Then you start going, oh my God, it's Sunday. So you go, I'm just going to chill today, lads. I'm going to watch Super Sunday. Going to get a Chinese. Then there's a show on Dream Team afterwards. And then, oh God, it's Monday. Oh, it's Monday. Oh, fuck. I hate Mondays. Like most people seem to hate Monday. And then you're like, oh God, I want that. I want that again. I hope next week my team win a bet. And then no. Next week, your team gets battered 5-0. You've lost like 60 quid. You go on a night out, but you barely have any money. And then you go, okay, next week's going to be better. And it was like that. Thankfully, I played football way more than I would watch it because I was a decent player. But there's games on every time. I'd watch the first half sometimes of like the midday game, and then there's midweek games, Champions League games, Europa League games, international games like this. It's hard to avoid it. What time are we on? 11:19. Oh, I've got a bit more time. Adam, I did a pretty sweet decode about you personally. I'd love to see it, mate. I'd love to see it. People seem to like decoding me now, but I'll help you with it if you have any questions. But I've decoded myself, but I'm interested to see it. Sports leagues generate billions annually. Yeah. Yeah, they do. I don't think that's a lie. I think they lie about how much money they're paying these athletes who are slaves, basically. But you can't deny the amount of money that these major clubs are making, like through ticket revenue, merchandise. I'm not sure how it works with TV, but there's no doubt there's millions and billions of people watching these Premier League games, to be honest. You can go anywhere in the world, there's people watching them. Man, I once was blind, now I see. Spiritually blind, not physically. It's spiritually blind. Once I was spiritually blind, but now I see. Because people say, you're not blind, you've always been able to see. Now people think. On this day, you see everything clearly has come to light. I've told you, I'm at a point where I want Revelation to play out at this point. I want the end of the days. I want Jesus' return. I'm at that point. I'm not desperate for it. Told you I live a good life. But I just want things to be so undeniable where you have a choice between this or this. I don't like this grey area and half people wearing masks, half people not. I just want it to all be revealed. Like, there you go. You literally have no choice here but to accept this. And if people still can't accept it, then that's it. That's where I'm standing right now with it all. Remind me what your catchphrase is. I don't like it being called a catchphrase. Like my mate Chris was saying, you have to make t-shirts just for a laugh. And even if you make them and you don't want to make money from them, just say people have to pay for the cost of it, like the basic cost and the shipping. I was like, I don't know. And he said, go on. So what's my catchphrase? I like to say, well, hello, baby. Well, hello, baby. But I don't know if it's a catchphrase. But again, my mate was like, just get it. I want one. I don't know why I won't do it. I don't know. But yeah, I don't like the term catchphrase. I don't get it to reel you in. Just when I started doing that, people would then leave comments saying, hey, baby, and all of that. And they liked it and sending me audios. I was like, all right. It always seemed to make people happy by saying it. Try it. All of you try it now. Just say, baby. Say that and see how you feel. It always makes me feel good. Not, hey, babe. How you doing, babe? Try do it. Try and say it. So it's not just baby. It's, well, hello, baby, if you want to call it a catchphrase. I would say it's that. I used to be so indecisive, but these days I'm not sure. That's a great little joke there. I enjoy that one. Hello, baby. It's like you're Mexican, querido. Yeah, I do it to people now. Like I was in Oxxo. Oxxo is like your local 7-Eleven in Mexico. And what did I buy? I think I bought a big bottle of water. And she was like, gracias. I said, de nada, baby. And she went, like she kind of like smiled because baby is very similar in Spanish. And she was like, what's this guy? But she smiled. And I do it to anyone. I'm doing that just because I was on a live stream and it's my catchphrase. A woman didn't know I'm the illusion or whoever. She laughed. I agree. Truth matters. 222. Every soul chooses the life that they want to live in this world and this round. Yeah, I think you have huge amount of free will. Your thoughts dictate your reality. You can play the victim or you can play the hero. You can. I've told you, you can really dictate where your life goes. And people say you can't. You just can't. I think you can have a major influence on where you go in your life with your mindset, which you can control. Do you listen to Divine Insight? And if you do, what do you think of his content? No, never heard of Divine Insight, but maybe I will. Knights Templar, Saracens, Jerusalem, African Hebrews. What about them? What's your favorite airline? Alaska Airlines. Alaska Airlines. People read what ancient Greek philosophy says. Yeah, I like ancient Greek philosophy. What if you get manipulated by your parents to become a doctor, especially strict Asian parents? That's on you. If you're aware at this point, if this is like you asking this question and you're going through it, if you're aware of it, then you have to stand up to them and say, this is my life. I appreciate that you want the best for me. Because they want you to be financially stable. That's a huge thing for people in this world. That means they're being successful for a lot of people if they're financially stable, if they have money in the bank. I think WWE just had that pay-per-view, Money in the Bank. And I would say to them, I don't want to do it. But I would hope that I had something in mind that I did want to do. Because then the next question is going to be, so what do you want to do? As soon as you say, I don't know, which is sometimes fine. It's absolutely fine not knowing what you want to do. It's better to have an idea. But I would tell my parents, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't believe in it, or whatever the reason is. Because I've told you, there's a lot of doctors who are really nice people, but they're just robots. They do as they're told, or what a book tells them. And the public have basically been not brainwashed to believe that all doctors are geniuses. I say all they are is most of them are good people. They care about your health, most of them. like the average one, but they have amazing memories. They have amazing memories. That's how they become a doctor. And then obviously they need the talent to perform the surgeries and stuff. I would say no, I'm not doing it. Truth Matters 222. Did you know that the truth will literally set us free? Because that's the CIA's motto, and it's also Johns Hopkins University's motto. But 6079, what's the truth to you? Somebody said, what is the truth? What would you say? Because if they want to be set free and you say, well, you're set free by the truth, what would you say the truth is for you? That's why I'd rather be independent, kind of like you. I've worked so hard to get to this point, to build up a platform, an audience, to have a coaching company, to teach online. I've worked really hard for that, but I've always stuck to what I wanted to do. Could have done whatever I wanted at university. My dad was like, he asked me, what are you going to do? What do you like? I told you all of this. I was like, I like school. What's your favorite subject? PE, English. Then go to university and study sports and education, sports development, do all of that. You can go down so many paths with that. And that's what I did. And now I'm coaching in Mexico. I'm teaching English in Mexico because I have my English background. And like I said, I work my ass off every day putting out content. Kind of just like, boom, I wake up and go, all right. Somebody messaged me about like pro sports. Like, why do people care so much about them? I was like, boom, all right, I'll do a live about that. Like, what? I was like, I just do a live. I don't study it or research it. I just talk about it. God is the true source of the truth because he is the truth. That's exactly what I would say. Because I guess, Adam, you never had overprotective parents. No, I didn't. I had parents who were always there for me, but they were never overprotective of me. They let me be me. They let me figure out who I was. They didn't tell me who I should be. So I'm forever grateful to my parents. No, anytime I need advice, it's because I've asked for it. They won't come to me and say, Adam, you know what, mate? I think you should be doing that. It's only if I go to them and say, hey, Dad, hey, Mum, what do you reckon? What do you reckon I should do here? I'm feeling like this. Like, should I move apartments? Should I get a girlfriend now? What do you reckon I should do? Should I come to England even though I've just lost my Patreon money? My dad said no. My dad said, save your money. It's a lot of money. My mum said, whatever happens, Adam, get your ass to England. It's only money. So I've got like, my dad's very like protective with money, like ads, like you've lost all that money. Like you're going to have a few months where you just lay low. I don't think it's a smart idea for you to get to England, although I'd love you there. My mum, Adam, get your little ass to England. You're fine. Money comes and goes. It's whatever. So there I'm like listening to my mum. But I will say when I truly want advice, honest advice, it's usually my dad that I go to. Especially if it's like about dating and stuff like that. Or like, I was trying to tell my dad how I feel about pro sports and he kind of gets it, but he still goes watch them and stuff. But he doesn't gamble or anything like that. Alistair Crowley. Yeah, Crowley. Just sick human being, man. Not the elite worship, especially the celebrities. They've sang about him, wear t-shirts of him, put him on Beatles album covers. It's absolutely wild. Great question. That's so funny. I was just on about this in my BR comments. Both were talking about the same thing. People being overly emotional and about dudes they don't even know and in tights. Yeah, like wrestling. You got these guys coming down in tights and like basically their underwear, just hugging each other and throwing each other about and laying on top of each other to get the 1, 2, 3. And yeah, I just again, I try and look at it from 2 points of view. Like, it's not all bad pro sports. They're not all bad. They can't all be bad. If you can sit and watch a game like with limited emotion and just enjoy the spectacle of it, and you're not gambling on it, I don't see a real problem with it. But when you're building up and you kissing your badge and biting your nails and crying, you've got to have a word with yourself, guys. Especially if you're a grown adult at this point. There's no denying that. Same with people who get all emotional with politics and stuff like that. It's actually ridiculous. The Olympics were held, like, was the first Olympics, I think it was 776 BC. It was ages ago, the Olympics. And they're still going on now. And these ceremonies, these opening ceremonies for the Olympics are getting more and more satanic. And people can't see it. They're just entertained by... Satan entertains them. Satan's very entertaining. He knows how to entertain you and blind you from the truth. But again, if there's the family aspect, I say this with, what have I got left? Guys, I've got about 30 minutes maximum here, max. It's kind of like soldiers. So, for example, my dad was a huge football fan. My mum's an incredible athlete, but she's not one to care about pro sports at all. She's just a phenomenal runner. Whereas my dad loved football, and my dad's a great athlete, but he loved football like me. So then he brings you up on it, and then you got the games with him, and then you have that connection that you build with your dad or your brother or whoever it is, your best mate. And that's the hardest thing to give up, I think, when you see what we see, to be honest. I don't hate pro sports. I just don't want to give my energy to them. That's why it's even hard now for me to code them. But I'll still do that. That's the only thing I'll still do with pro sports thing. I'll code them every now and again for you when I get that website up. And if that website don't work out, maybe that's just, well, maybe I'll think of another platform, but I don't know. But people care more about sports than philosophy or astrology or science. They care more about sports. It's crazy. Would people go watch these pro sports if they were just on a regular field and no stadium and no like jerseys and stuff like that? Do you think people would still care if these pro athletes were making the same money as a guy in a factory? Would people care? I don't think so. I don't think they would. Why is there not 10, 20,000 people watching a Sunday league game? Your answer's probably, well, they're not as talented. You get real football there, real passion, and you get some actual really talented players. Nobody cares to watch that because it's in a big stadium and it's a big event, and there's like people singing at halftime and all of that. People go and they love it, and they spend so much money, man. You don't need to fear Satan. You need to fear science. You don't need to fear anything, mate. You don't need to fear anything. Simple as that. I was trying to let you know you should pick up a book sometime, and 2 + 2 = 5 is a direct quote from the novel 1984. For many people, 2 + 2 does equal 5. I bet most sportsmen turn professional with good intentions to begin with. Yes, I believe so. Yes, I know I laugh every time you post 1,000 comments that have nothing to do with anything and are just blaspheming God. Are you arguing with someone here? 6079. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe I've missed something. People care more than their friends about pro sports. Yep. JFK was the order out of chaos. Yep. I just don't think he died. Okay, I think Amani Anani and 6079 are going at it. Let them go at it. It's the obsession, innit, that people have with them. There's casual fans and there's obsessive fans. The word's ardent. If you're ardent, you're like a diehard. And they're the people, like, again, when you go to a concert, we'll throw Justin Bieber out there, so everyone knows who Justin Bieber is. The screaming, the crying, the hysterics. I love you, Justin. I love you. Even the way people were with like Michael Jackson or Prince or whoever it is, it's unhealthy. It's disturbing, to be honest. It's a lot of people. I remember when the Premier League took a break because of COVID. People say, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I just don't know what I'm going to do. And being serious, that's tragic. And there's violence as well in these pro sports. There's a lot of violence. A lot of violence. A lot of violence. It's wild. Oh, you're threatening violence. And think about the songs you're singing in the stadiums. They're usually really like negative. There's some way you're singing for your team, but the stuff they say about the referees, the goalkeepers, the things you hear, people screaming to the players, the things I may have said myself as a fan. It's weird. When you're inside that stadium, you can practically say whatever you want. As soon as you leave the stadium, if you say that, it's a different story. You can get arrested. All sorts of stuff can happen. When you're in the stadium, the stuff you get away with saying to people you don't know is absolutely insane. Why can't we just love one another? Yep. Life would be a far better place. Hopefully that's what happens in heaven. One of my friends works in real estate and she has an Instagram. She's showing all the houses that she's recently just sold and the money that she made. I was like, no offense again to anyone out there who does this, like, fine, take advantage of it. Why are they getting paid so much money to say, here's the kitchen, this is where you cook, here's the bedroom, this is where you sleep, there's a nice pool there, look, you can even set up a barbecue and you could do this. Oh yeah. And I don't get, this system's a joke, to be honest. The whole system that we live in is one massive joke. Makes no sense from top to bottom. I think as well, with the fans, like, so when you're in these big ass stadiums, like Old Trafford, for example, people feel stronger and more powerful when they're connected in with a large group. So you feel like safe and comfortable, and like it's almost like the bigger the stadium, the more bigger the club, the more successful the club, the more powerful you feel, which is an illusion. And I'm still trying to figure out what colors mean, but when you go to a stadium, it's like 70,000 fans all wearing red. It's like there's something going on having all that color in one area as well. There's something to it. There's something to it. I've got about 20 more minutes. And it's funny how in different countries, people like different sports. Like football or soccer in the US is not very popular. Whereas if you go to Brazil, it's like everything for people, football. You go to Canada, people are not that bothered about it. So that's interesting as well. Like depending on where you are, dictates maybe how much you love a sport. Like Canada love hockey, don't they? They're avid hockey fans. Whereas for me, I don't really care about hockey. Because growing up in England, you don't watch ice hockey. Masonic symbol is not a square and compass really hidden in plain sight. Hard mentality. It's banter. It's meant to antagonize and wind up the opposition, all part and parcel of the circus, pouring energy into the loosh. 100% Devon, you just summed it up perfectly. But we're not really aware of it. We all have that ego and that competitiveness within us. That's another reason why we love to win. We feel like we won. So we can go away and you can see the opposition fans and go, even then, I would do that. I've got a huge mouth. That is nice to know you're here. It's nice to know you're here. Now, all of that, it's like so negative. Color vibrations, yeah. You did security, JM, yeah. The fact that you even need security at these games shows you that we're pretty much lost. Why can't people just sit down and watch a game of football if it was all about just watching these talented athletes? I think it's so boring as well now, like watching a game of pro football. Get it here, pass it back, pass to the centre half, to the keeper, to the centre half, to the left back, to the centre half, to the right back, to the centre mid, the diagonal. Defender clears it with his head, falls to the central midfielder, goes back, centre half, right back. We'll try it again. Oh, no, there's an open pass. Great pass. Guy penetrates, beats the player. Oh, it's just wide. Keeper gets it. Oh, you fat. It's just, oh, man. It's cringeworthy looking back. Is rugby rigged? Yeah, it depends what we define rigged as. It's predetermined. Somebody asked me this at the lower levels and school levels. Is it rigged? Is it all rigged? I don't believe so. I think the highest level, it's been corrupted by demons or man or technology or fallen angels or Satan or whatever. And you want to stay away from watching it and giving your energy to it. Focus on actually playing sports yourself, coaching them, going out with your kids, whatever it is. Because sports are amazing. They really are. They've been a huge part of my life. They still will be. I think they will be till the day that I die. But just wait for that World Cup. You're going to probably see all the positives to it. But again, just know that those positives are you having an extra day off work to get pissed. And maybe you get all your friends around. But you can't do that without a football game, can you? No. Very similar with a lot of my friends' families. They gather for major events, like a Champions League final. Always seems to be a nice day. Champions League final. I'm going to have a barbecue. All of you invited. Let's bring your own alcohol. I'll cook your burgers. Watch the game. As soon as the game's over, people have lost the bets. They leave. If they've won the bets and the team won, stay around a little bit longer. But sports is all about competition. That's the main thing. That's what we can all agree upon, is that level of competition. Winner, a loser. I think you need that in life. You need to compete with other people. But you need to compete with other people, not watching other people compete against other people that makes you feel like you've won or lost. Do you know what I mean? But competition is important. You need to compete and compete with yourself as well, which is really important. So, yeah. The fact that I can code these games now, you can say, are they rigged, are they this? The fact that I've coded so many games so perfectly for a couple of years and called futures in practically every sport tells me it's not as organic as I once thought, is what I'll say. I used to think it was just the best athletes competing, the best team won. Sometimes you'd be unfortunate. I don't know, like you'd hit the bar a few times, or you'd say in the NFL, you drop an easy catch a few times, or whatever it may be. But I used to really believe it was all organic, like completely organic and just man responsible. I can't say that now. I just don't know how it's all being done so perfectly executed to the point where I can say this team's going to win. this tournament 6 months before in a sport that I don't even play or watch. That's not right to me that I can do that. Right. It's easy being negative, takes effort being positive. Even that's an amazing comment. It's easy being negative, it takes effort to be positive. That's great. I like that. I think that's a good comment. So yeah, like guys, I just wanted to do a quick live here. I've got to get off. Well, I don't have to, but I wanna meet my friend. I just want to relax. My last day where I can really relax. But for next month's going to be pretty wild for me. So yeah, pro sports are pretty much dead to me. And it took me months to accept that. It hurt me a lot. Lost a load of friends. So many friends now I don't care about pro sports. So many. I noticed yesterday when I was talking about legendary footballers and stuff, my likes just kept going up and up and up and up. When I was talking about all the intense stuff and the spiritual awakening and how that affects your relationships, people were like, all right. As soon as I started going on about Zidane and Riquelme and talking and Rooney and all of that, likes, so people still loving that celebrity worship. Still loving it. I could easily come live every day and talk about that stuff and probably double the likes and views, but I don't want to do that. It'd be really easy for me to do that. We all need help. Please let people help. It takes some strength to accept help. And I 100% agree with that. There's nothing wrong with somebody helping you at all. Let them help you. Like the guy doing the website for me, I was like, why does he want to help me? He don't even know me. Why would he do this? I've never even met him. Now I just trust the process. He reached out to me. I'm gonna trust him, and he can help me. I'll be forever grateful. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't. But you've got to let people help you. You're not weak asking for help. I'm not saying you should always do it. You should always try and figure shit out for yourself. You should always try and figure shit out for yourself to the point where you're like, listen, I really don't get this. I really need guidance here. And then have somebody help you, or at least try to help you. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, R9, yeah. No denying that guy's talent. Anyone feel there is no down anymore, just neutrality or elation? You can't get any lower? No, I think you can get lower. You can have days where you feel really low and days where you feel really high. Most of the time, people just feel like that. No, I don't agree with that. All good talk, but we all know when the event rolls around, you will present that I called it and then go back and then not give you energy, let go of your ego. No, mate, I've told you that Alpha Amiga. Nice name, by the way. It's a process for me. I've gone from watching every sport, giving my life to pro sports, to then gambling on them. So I don't watch pro sports now. I don't gamble on them. I don't play fantasy football anymore. Got rid of all of that. Done. In regards to decoding it, if I have that website as part of my job, I won't do it every day. I'm not going to come and do a live saying, I told you how good I am, I called it. Watch how I've gradually got rid of my ego a little bit. I say, yeah, I told you that. I called Warriors in December. The way I present it, my voice, my tone of voice. I ain't like, I told you to all you doubters out there, the Warriors, let's go, Steph. I'm like, I called Warriors December for this, and it hit. And I'm a normal lad who doesn't play basketball. How am I able to do that? Because it's coded. For me, I'll never be as down as I once was. I like that. I get what you're saying there. I do understand that. Because you don't take things as seriously. You're not going to get as overwhelmed by the bullshit in the mainstream. Something happens to you, you go, it's all part of it, baby. It's part of my journey. You take it on the chin. So I get what you're saying. Nothing embarrassing about being helped. I'll take all the help I can get. Again, there's no embarrassment in asking for help. Worst people can say is no. It's like when you ask a girl on a date, worst you can say is no, I'm not interested, or just completely ignore you. It's like, all right, or she could say yes. It could be great. Polarity thing in it, just the beauty of the lower self. Yeah. Your perception's being changed, and if you're empathetic, then you're never feeling down. You know someone's feeling worse somewhere else. Or when you realize that we're all one and we're all connected, that's when you really want to help everyone and not just yourself. You don't thrive in seeing people struggle and crying and upset. You want to help them. You just want to help them because you know that they are you as well. And that's very deep. It's a really hard thing to understand. It's also very simple. What's your views on pornography? Free. Avoid it. Addictive. I think a lot of them are the opposite sex. I think it's affected a lot of people's relationships with their spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend with these unrealistic expectations. People watching porn with their wife or husband to get off, not actually making love with each other. So porn is extremely addictive. And it's that short-term thrill. So I would avoid watching pornography, but it's not easy. Again, that's a really hard thing to give up if you're into porn and it's like part of your daily habit to just stop watching it. Is like just to stop watching sports. It's a process. You can reduce the amount of time you watch it to the point where hopefully you don't have to watch it anymore. When I said yesterday with the whole awakening, I'm not even that bothered about sex now unless I'm really connected with somebody, and it can be magical. But it's weird because we're still like, you have days where you are horny and you just, I don't know, especially, and when you drink, you get hornier, don't you? A lot of people. And that's when most people have sex, after they've been drinking, it seems. You've been super helpful today. Who lost feeling, like I said, you bring nothing to the party. Most of the time you're telling me how great my decodes are, and I'm thinking, right, don't get into it with each other. Is this how you want to spend your Sunday, by arguing about who knows this and who's the better coder? If you believe in your work, that's enough. You don't need everyone to tell you. I don't need people telling me how good I am. You don't. If you truly believe in your work, you don't need that ego element of it. You don't have to fight people to. I did that. I was fighting everyone to prove how good I was. Read this. Look at that. Look at what I did. I was fighting so hard with people. Not anymore. I know how good I am. That's what matters to me. You don't have to tell the world how good you are. You can only help when you help yourself. Yes. Yes, there is an element of can't just always be helping everybody else. You have to focus on your own health and yourself to be at your best to help others. There is that element. The happier you are, the happier you probably make other people. But there's a lot of people who really don't like themselves and they're low and they are fed up, but they can still help other people. Thankfully, but I do believe the happier you are, the more fulfilled you are, you will help people a lot more than if you were struggling. But there's definitely people really struggling who do all they can to help other people because they don't want people to feel the way they're feeling. It's deep. It's all unique as well. Like going back just for 5 seconds with the depression, we all have our own stories. It's unique. There's no universal rule to it. How you deal with it, how you react to it, what you've gone through, how you got there. That's your story. We don't, you know what I mean? It's your story, my story. It is what it is. I'm gonna go. There's a few people. I've got stuff to do. There's people fighting each other, which is exactly what we shouldn't be doing. That's why I left Discord, because people was always trying to prove who was better than the other one. It's just toxic. It's toxic. Have faith in your beliefs, and simple as that. Stick with them. Cloud, much love to you. Hope you're well. Okay. Divine Feminine Living UK. Every time she sends that kiss, baby, it's amazing what emojis can do. I think emojis are magic as well. I think something to emojis, the power of a certain emoji and what it can do and how it can trigger the way you think and how you basically understand the comment by one emoji, even like a wink or the lips or the tongue out, changes it, doesn't it? It changes the message. It's crazy. It's powerful. All right. I'm going to have fun. I'm just going to relax today. I'm going to take my book to the beach, go for a swim, and then get home in about 5 hours or something. What time are we on? 11:56. I'm meeting him at 1 p.m. Gonna go. I've already done 60 push-ups. I'm gonna do another 40 now. Do 100 a day. Little goals like that. It's not much, but it all adds up. So take care, guys. I am going to work really hard on getting this website up and running ASAP. Thanks to everyone reaching out, emailing me, tweeting me, WhatsApping me, saying you're going to support me. It means a lot. And we'll see how it goes. We'll just see how it goes. Hopefully it goes really well for everybody involved with it. So take care. Off I go. And much love to all of you, baby. Boom.